A climate change petition led by local academics has been discounted by the Parliamentary Select Committee. The Wise Response petition was presented by University of Otago Emeritus Professor Sir Alan Mark, and he's here to tell us all about it. Good evening.
Good evening, Rebecca.
Now, what did your petition call for?
Well, it was a petition directed at Parliament asking for a multi-party risk assessment of 5 main issues that we saw increasing threat to present and particularly future human welfare.
And what were those 5 main issues?
Well, number one was probably use of fossil fuels and associated global warming, climate change. We're concerned that the environment ecological situation is unable to sustain many of the aspects of economic growth, so sustainability of the environment is fundamental. Then human welfare, inequality is a major issue, and then business continuity and economic security. And we looked at these as a holistic pattern. They're interrelated, but they cover a very broad spectrum.
When was the petition presented?
We presented it in Parliament on the 9th of April last year. And we had a large gathering there, and the supporting parties, the Labour, the Green and the New Zealand First Party were there and formally received it, and they presented it to the Speaker of the House on that day.
Now, how long had Wise Response been working on the petition? That was what the group of local academics...
Yeah, well, no, it's not academics. We're right across the board, really. Businessmen, engineers, poets, authors, writers. We're very representative, really, of the general public. Our patron is Sir Geoffrey Palmer, and we're not just Dunedin-based. When we launched in March of 2013, we had 10 speakers, 5 from out of Dunedin, from Auckland down to Christchurch, and we had 5 local speakers, and we launched it then in March of 2013. So the petition went to Parliament about a year later.
What was your reaction to its dismissal?
Well, it took 2.5 months to get a response, and that was slower than usual, and that was because I think there were 3 minority views that had a different perspective on the exercise than did the majority view, which was the government of the day and ACT Party. And they dismissed it as being not altogether necessary in terms of what government is doing. It was accompanied by a 12-page report from Treasury. Other government departments were consulted, and they said that the government is looking at resilience, dealing with the issues as they occur, and we feel that that is not altogether the best way. They're reactionary. We'd like to be proactive, anticipate these problems which are clearly there in front of us, and try to do what we can to avert them, to reduce the impact, rather than try to deal with them after they've occurred. So it's a different approach. And the 3 minor parties were very supportive of our view.
What now?
Well, we're pursuing. We're disappointed, but we're certainly not going to give it away. This is a major issue. Globally, it's a major issue. New Zealand has a role to play here, and particularly with the upcoming climate conference in Paris, where New Zealand's response to that exercise, that internationally significant exercise, has been very disappointing. And government gave us a chance in May and June of this year, less than 30 days to respond on a discussion paper they put out ahead of the Paris conference. 30 days for a major issue. Well, they got 15,600 submissions, valid submissions, and of those that quoted us a level of emissions reduction, 99% said we need 40% reduction on 1990 levels by 2030. Government has submitted 11% reduction. We say that's pathetic. New Zealand can do better. New Zealand must do better. We can do better. So we'll continue, and we've got Sir Geoffrey Palmer coming down to talk on climate change, full Wise Response and other university departments on the 5th of October. So we're disappointed, but we're not going to give up. The issues are too important.
In an ideal world, obviously we wouldn't have climate change issues, but in an ideal situation, what would you see happening here?
We'd have an environment that was sustainable. We'd have a population that enjoyed life, and we'd have an economic development consistent with what the environment is able to provide for it. And that way we'd have a sustainable future. As we see it, the future doesn't look very sustainable.
Emeritus Professor Sir Alan Mark, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.